honored if you would join us.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Star Wars Chat, where today we will be covering the breakdown of Ahsoka, the first 2 episodes. If you haven't seen the show yet, click away now and then come back and watch this video so you get to have an insight to what I was thinking during the scenes of the show. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. We start off in episode 1 with an opening crawl, and just a side note, this is the first time that a Disney Star Wars show has done some form of a opening crawl. But the colour of the text in this opening crawl for Ahsoka is in red to evoke darker times for the galaxy, with the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. The reason why in the crawl it states former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano is because in the Clone Wars, Ahsoka walked away from Anakin and the Jedi Order after being betrayed by Barriss Offee and feeling like she couldn't really trust the Jedi anymore. That's for those who are either confused or like what the hell at why it said former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano in the opening crawl. So, the opening scene of the first episode is basically Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati breaking Morgan Elsbeth out of New Republic custody. We saw Morgan Elsbeth back in Mando Season 2 with the Beskar staff, where Ahsoka was fighting Morgan Elsbeth, and obviously she got arrested by the New Republic after that episode. Ahsoka arrives at a debris-infested world where she discovers a tomb to what I think is the Zepho, since the artwork and the statues reference the Zepho in Jedi Fallen Order, in my opinion. It could be something else entirely, but in my opinion I think it's the Zepho. Ahsoka gains the star map in a small ball form that will show her how to get Ezra back from the new galaxy. That's been shown to us later in episode 2. But as Ahsoka leaves the tomb, she is suddenly attacked by multiple assassin droids as she uses her lightsaber to destroy them. After Ahsoka destroyed the assassin droids, one of them decides to initiate a self-destruct protocol in hopes to kill Ahsoka, but she makes a narrow escape as she force jumps onto a ship being piloted by Huang, who was in the Clone Wars teaching younglings and building their own lightsabers. Ahsoka is challenged by Huang about her recent departure from teaching Sabine. I hope that this side plot is explored more so that the show can answer questions like, why did Ahsoka walk away from Sabine? But they soon receive a transmission by Hera Syndulla, who is now the General of the New Republic, to investigate the most recent breakout. Ahsoka, Hera and Huang discuss the 2 cloaked figures to be identified as Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. The 2 lightsaber hilts are investigated by Huang, stating that Shin Hati's lightsaber familiarity is unknown, but it is soon discovered that Baylan's lightsaber is identifiable, as Huang reveals that Baylan was alive during the Clone Wars and obviously survived Order 66, who for those who don't know is basically an order that is to kill every Jedi in the galaxy. I'll do a video more about Order 66, breaking it down and kind of exploring it as a whole in its own separate video. After this, Ahsoka and Huang set course for Lothal, after Hera talks Ahsoka into meeting Sabine once again. Sabine in this episode seems reluctant to accept any royalties for defending Lothal after Rebel Season 4, in the finale with the Battle of Lothal. We soon see a structure of the Rebels crew painted onto a big slab stone, but Sabine is nowhere to be found. So Governor Ryder Azadi sends out 2 Lothal police to find her and bring her back to the ceremony that has taken place within the city. We then cut to Sabine speeding away on the long stretch of a highway as Lothal police catch up to her, trying to talk her into going to the ceremony. But this doesn't work, and Sabine begins to accelerate. And with this shot in this scene, it really reminds me of back in Attack of the Clones, where Anakin was on his speeder, racing through the desert of Tatooine to find his mother. Anyway, one of the Lothal police parks in the middle of the highway in hopes of stopping Sabine, but the tension slowly rises as Sabine continues to speed closer to the Lothal police guard's vehicle. But in a quick move, Sabine flicks a switch and the speeder lowers itself as she glides under the vehicle, making her escape. So far, this show has more action sequences than in Andor. Wow. While still maintaining its world building and building the characters up and setting up the entire show. They've really brought it home. Anyway, we then cut to Sabine arriving at the communications tower far away from the city. And this is where Ezra once lived in Rebels. So it kind of begins to show that Sabine is really trying to hold on to her memories of her time with Ezra in Rebels. We soon see that she has a pet Lothcat. As the episode progresses, Sabine watches a pre-recorded message from Ezra, speaking about the greater challenges of being a Jedi and showing clear signs of Sabine missing him. We swipe to Shin Hati, Baylan Skoll, and Morgan Elsbeth on the planet where Ahsoka was recovering the star map from the Zephyr tomb, in hopes of tracking down Ahsoka Tano to gain the star map to discover a way to bring Thrawn back from the unknown regions, or the new galaxy that is soon revealed in episode 2. Morgan Elsbeth reveals to Shin Hati that she is indeed a witch, and she mentions she is a survivor, so that can only link her to being a Night Sister, since the Night Sisters of Dathomir in the Clone Wars were slaughtered by General Grievous under the order of Emperor Palpatine. This is unique because she is one of the only survivors of the Night Sisters, being that they're more rarer to come across than the Jedi. Baylan soon confirms to Morgan Elsbeth that Ahsoka does have the star map, and they begin their hunt for Ahsoka Tano. Elsbeth soon sends Shin Hati to Lothal to kill Sabine to draw Ahsoka out. We then cut back to Sabine hearing voices of Ezra in her dreams, as we see some cool stuff in the background in Sabine's home, such as destroyed and rusted stormtrooper helmets, scout trooper helmets, and many drawings in the walls and sketches of Lothcats and other things, showing Sabine's more artistic side of her personality that we did see in Rebels, but it's nice that Dave is using that side of her in the show to maintain that consistency. Ahsoka and Sabine meet as she brings Sabine up to speed, revealing the star map, and to her saying this is how they can bring Ezra back, and hoping that Sabine can decipher the orb so they can discover what Ezra is and how to bring him back. They soon argue about how Ahsoka hasn't always been there for Sabine, but Ahsoka says to her that being a Jedi isn't easy, whereas Sabine says after that she would have been a good one. They clearly do have issues, which I hope the show will explore and then it gets resolved, so we get to see them work together as master and apprentice, which episode 1 is called. Huang soon interrupts them, saying that he has information on Balin's and Shin's lightsaber hilts from his own database. Sabine asks Ahsoka if she can take the map elsewhere so she can think more clearly, but Ahsoka rejects this in case it gets stolen or it could cause an all-out war, which the galaxy is still recovering from the Galactic Civil War, since this show is taking place several years after Return of the Jedi. And also, Ahsoka knows that there are people out there in the galaxy searching for it. Sabine, of course, disobeys Ahsoka and takes the map back to her home to decipher as Huang and Ahsoka discover more intel on Balin's and Shin's lightsaber hilts from Huang's database. He couldn't recognize Shin's lightsaber, but Huang did, however, recognize Balin's lightsaber, revealing that Balin was a Jedi during the end of the Clone Wars, but disappeared during Order 66. I believe that it escaped Order 66 by going into the unknown regions and just waiting until it was the right moment to come back and continue his own character journey through the galaxy. Ahsoka confirms that Balin and Shin are the master and the apprentice, which, when that happened, it sent chills down my spine due to the music and how Rosario played the scene, maybe possibly showing that Ahsoka fears these two, as they could bring Thrawn back and destroy the entire galaxy. Sabine goes home to decipher the map, where we see a probe droid watching her and returning to Shin Hati, which reminded me of the scene in The Phantom Menace where Darth Maul was using his probe droids to track down Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, the rest of the Naboo politicians, and Queen Amidala on Tatooine. We cut to Ahsoka speaking with Hera through a hologram transmission about Sabine's disobedience, but Hera calms her down, saying she is a Mandalorian that is expected of her to do that. Hera mentions how Anakin probably felt the same way about Ahsoka when he was training her. But Ahsoka soon mentions to Hera that Anakin didn't complete her training, since she walked away from him and the entire Jedi Order before the end of the Clone Wars. The tone in the scene totally shifts, and it changes really well as Ahsoka reveals this piece of information to Hera. Sabine finally opens the map as it spells out coordinates, but she is soon ambushed by the same mates of assassin droids that attacked Ahsoka, meaning that Shin Hati is closing in on Sabine. As she fights the droids, we see her struggle as the assassin droid takes the map and destroys all of her technology, where she'd made notes of the map and the coordinates so that Ahsoka and her crew can't use this vital piece of intel, in hopes of slowing her down. After this, Sabine grabs Ezra's lightsaber and chases after the droids, but only to run into Shin Hati, where we see the first lightsaber duel for the show. And it was choreographed, I think, really well and shot really well, with the clashes and the hits from the blades feeling more impactful, making us, the audience, feel those hits and strikes. Ahsoka soon receives word of what's happening, and she speeds away in her ship to stop Shin from taking the map from Sabine. By the time Ahsoka arrives, Sabine is stabbed in the torso, by Shinhati, and she escapes with a map. At this point, I'm hating how Sabine got stabbed in the similar way that Qui-Gon did, since he's been the only Star Wars character so far to be killed by this torso strike. And we saw this in the Obi-Wan show, where Reva got stabbed and she survived. I think this kind of torso strike has been overused and it's not being used properly, by Disney standards. Well, that's where episode 1 ends, and I think this was a very strong start, apart from minor nitpicks here and there throughout the episode. If I was going to rank this episode, I would rank it as a 9 out of 10, but that's just because this first episode was really strong and had less issues than the Kenobi show had. Now, we will move on to episode 2 of Ahsoka Tano. This episode starts right after the end of the first episode, with Sabine being stabbed by Shinhati and being rushed off to hospital as Ahsoka got to the observation tower by the time that Sabine was on the floor with the stab wound. Sabine soon wakes up in the hospital bed as Ahsoka tries to get her to rest, since she is still recovering from the stab wound from the end of the episode 1, which, if you want to put it in terms of Star Wars lore, this could be seen as like a few hours after the stab wound. Sabine tells Ahsoka that she unlocked the map and discovered coordinates leading to another galaxy where Ezra and Thrawn could be. Ahsoka asks her if she made notes on this, but unfortunately Sabine tells Ahsoka that the assassin droids destroyed everything containing intel on the map in hopes of slowing Ahsoka down. After Ahsoka hears this, she feels quite upset, and Sabine remembers nothing of the star system she saw on the map. And Ahsoka walks out saying, "You've done enough." Baylan and Shinhati arrive and meet with Morgan Elsbeth on this relic site, which was built not by Jedi, but by an unknown civilization from another galaxy. As Baylan looks towards the sky, he sees what looks to be a Purrgil getting closer, since they were the ones that engaged an organic. There we go. I've got my words out. An organic hyperspace route with Ezra and Thrawn. Ahsoka heads back to Sabine's home to cover the tracks and feel the tremors in the Force to see what happened. As she walks around inside the observation tower, Ahsoka suddenly kills one assassin droid who was waiting for her. And, obviously it did fail. Ahsoka brings the droid's head back to Sabine as they begin looking into the mechanics of the droid, through Sabine dismantling the head from her hospital bed, in hopes of recovering the information and the origins of the droid. They learn that this droid came from Corellia, where the planet was known to contain Imperial loyalists. Ahsoka remembers that Elsbeth had factories across the planet, and so her and Hera travelled to Corellia. Meanwhile, Elsbeth soon arrives at the relic site and uses Night Sister magic to unlock the star map, to reveal a holographic projection of the entire galaxy, including the new unknown galaxies, where a path is strung to one specific galaxy, giving them guidance on how to find Thrawn, the pathway to Peridia. Baylan says that the younglings in the Jedi Order used to call it that, but it's a fairy tale, ones that are based on truths. Baylan says that the path forward is clouded. But it is soon revealed that Ellsworth heard Thrawn's voice from the distant galaxy across time and space. She confirms that this is where he has been banished to after the finale of Rebels Season 4. Baylan soon states that this galaxy contains power that we have never seen before, which has the possibility for this galaxy to have new rules, new characters, new powers, new empires, new everything. I like how the map got activated, and it was by Morgan's Night Sister magic. Since we haven't really seen much of magic in Star Wars, and that the only way to unlock the map on this relic site is by using Night Sister magic, which is clever. Ahsoka and Hera observe the hyperdrives being dismantled from Imperial Star Destroyers in the background on Corellia to be repurposed for New Republic ships. As they learn that ex-Imperials work here on the planets that now work for the New Republic being on payroll, they venture through the workplace, but there's an eerie feeling consistently as they go along in the scene, as the workers begin to notice Ahsoka and Hera's presence on the planet. They soon talk about Sabine being Ahsoka's apprentice again, but Ahsoka is reluctant to take Sabine back as her apprentice. A medical droid tends to Sabine's wounds, but this specific medical droid is the same model that was seen at the end of Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin was being transformed into Darth Vader. And this droid was also seen at the end of Empire Strikes Back, where Luke got his new mechanical hand after it was chopped off by Vader. Which was, I think, a really cool nod and good consistency within the Star Wars canon timeline. Huang walks in and tells Sabine that Ezra's lightsaber is now actually hers, since she has modified it to suit her personality and to her liking. Huang hands the saber to Sabine after some encouraging words, and she's going to be serious now, instead of being rebellious and disobedient towards Ahsoka. We soon learn that the dismantled Imperial fleet ships, once sold, are very profitable to fund many different New Republic projects, amongst other things, which raises a red flag for Hera and Ahsoka. As Syndulla notices outside the window that the hyperdrive core is being built, they ask about it, and they're told that 9 have been built as well. This core is too big to be used for any Republic ship, which of course raises another red flag for both Ahsoka and Hera. The information is classified, and General Hera Syndulla is being denied. But Ahsoka soon asks about the HK assassin droids that we have seen so far back in episode 1 and at the start of episode 2. And that they could be repurposed and they could still be here on the planet being made and manufactured. They learn that the droid of this class does indeed exist, unknown to the manager, currently departing. On the very transport outside, the traitorous workers scream, "For the Empire!" as they attack Ahsoka and Hera, but being taken out with ease. Hera races to the Ghost to chase after the transport, as Ahsoka Tano jumps out the window faced by Marok, who is an Inquisitor, loyal to Baylan. It seems like since he holds a red double-bladed lightsaber, but with only one of the blades showing. like moulded in the Phantom Menace. My theory on the identity of this Inquisitor is Barriss Offee, since throughout the show, Ahsoka will be faced by her past, and that Barriss betrayed and framed Ahsoka during the bombing of the Jedi Temple back in the Clone Wars. The Inquisitor and Ahsoka fight as Hera chases after the transport. Chopper tries to find the tracker but fails repeatedly until he finds the right tracker to throw onto the transport ship. This, I think, was quite a funny scene, since Chopper was like freaking out and Hera's just like, keep a lid on it, basically. Marrok can't take Ahsoka on right now and makes his escape to his ship, as Ahsoka Tano chases after him but fails to capture the Inquisitor. Ahsoka dodged the Inquisitor's double-bladed lightsaber that was coming back to him as calmly as she could, which really does show how far Ahsoka has come since her first appearance in the Clone Wars movie back in 2008. From a snippy Padawan to a focused and calm former Jedi Knight. Sabine heads back to her home and lays her Mandalorian armor on the table, kneeling before it, performing some form of ritual before putting the armor on and picking up the Mandalorian helmet. Afterwards, she cuts her hair in front of that helmet. The Imperial loyalists on Corellia are soon arrested by the New Republic. Sabine sends a message to Ahsoka, and without any hesitation, she travels back to Lothal to meet with Sabine once more, on Lothal stating that she is now ready. And this is pretty much the end of Rebels, where she dons the armor, looks at the mural of the Ghost crew, and touching Ezra's face, hoping that she finds him again, alive and well. She turns around to see Ahsoka standing by her ship, waiting for Sabine to join her. And we're now pretty caught up and ready to delve deeper into the story that the show is going to be telling in the next 5 episodes of Ahsoka. Balin confirms to Elsbeth that Ahsoka is coming, as he appears in the mystical light hologram, but standing next to him is Shin Hati and Marrok on each side. He tells Elsbeth that to kill Ahsoka would be a shame, since there are so few Jedi left in the galaxy. She questions if he has conflict within himself, which Balin does deny, and states that he was being honest. If I was going to rank this episode, I would rate it at a 8 out of 10. Since it didn't really feel as strong as the first episode in my opinion, but it's still interesting and enjoyable while setting up the story, unlike the Andor show, since that took a very long time for it to get going. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this long breakdown and review of the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. As always, like, comment, share and subscribe, as all those things really help the channel out massively, and they push my videos out to other people who may have not seen either Star Wars or may not have seen my channel. But I will try to upload my Ahsoka breakdowns and reviews as soon as I can. But for now, may the Force be with you.